We already talked about Amazon Luna's big news regarding your already purchased Ubisoft titles. Well, there's more. Join us for My Rant, Stadia gamers rescued by Luna over their Ubisoft purchases. It's CDO Daily. Let's get into this one. What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K of PNTS Network and CloudDosage back again with another CDO Daily. Do me a huge favor before we get into this one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. We appreciate all of y'all. Straight up, y'all know the deal, y'all know the reason, and by now y'all should know the slogan. We are not too proud to ask. So what I'm going to ask you today is, bear with me on this one because I got a lot to say about what's going on with Amazon and so forth with the Ubisoft games that they're allowing people to play if they've already purchased, and the latest revelation of how it's affecting Stadia gamers. But before we get into all that, I got to give you the news story. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Rock and Rock Show. I saw something that he put out there on Twitter about an article that released the day prior from Android Police. So here is the article from Android Police, and it's titled, "Play Your Stadia Ubisoft Titles at No Extra Cost on Amazon Luna. Existing and future Ubisoft store purchases can also be synced to your Luna account." All right, but before we get into all that, I just want to remind everybody of this tweet that references what Ubisoft did in regards to Stadia shutting down with the titles that were purchased on Stadia. So here's a tweet that they put out there that sums up what they're going to do, which is fantastic. It says, "While Stadia will shut down on January 18, 2023, we're happy to share that we're working to bring the games you own on Stadia to PC through Ubisoft Connect. We'll have more to share regarding specific details as well as the impact for Ubisoft Plus subscribers at a later date." So what ended up happening is they allow people to connect their Stadia games to Ubisoft Connect and be able to play them on PC. The problem is that a lot of people who got into Stadia, because this was part of Stadia's core demographic of who they targeted for their consumer base, they don't have PCs or hardware capable to play these games via Ubisoft Connect. So it really didn't do them any justice, right? Then along comes Ubisoft again. And what Ubisoft does this time is, we're going to refer back to the news article from Android Police, I believe it is. Yeah. So what they did this time is they went even a step further. Luna, a couple of days ago, announced that you can now play a variety of Ubisoft titles that you already own on PC. What does that have to do with Stadia? Well, if Stadia is closing down, what that does is that allows the PC games that you connected from Stadia first on the Ubisoft Connect to now be uploadable, well, not uploadable, but playable via Amazon Luna. So let's go read the story. Let's get all into the story so you can understand what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, its story reads, before Stadia's execution date was set, its biggest competitor was Amazon Luna. This service works slightly differently, offering games through subscriptions rather than one-time purchases like Stadia. Now Amazon Luna has partly alleviated this shortcoming by partnering with Ubisoft to allow Ubisoft store purchases to be played through Luna without the need for a Ubisoft Plus subscription. It continues, players who previously purchased Ubisoft titles on Stadia will be especially happy as Ubisoft has confirmed that Stadia purchases converted to PC via Ubisoft Connect will also be available on Luna at no extra cost. Apart from Just Dance 2020, 2021, and 2022, all Ubisoft games on Stadia look like they will be playable on Luna once the conversion takes place. Okay, so here goes my rant. The community has expressed mixed feelings about all, and I welcome the discussion. I'm a child, I'm a product of moot court competitions. If you don't know what those are, you know, when you're in high school, you go and you pretend to be a lawyer. You actually sit with lawyers and paralegals and You do mock court competitions and you guys debate and argue over why your client is right and all other stuff. And it fosters discussion around the law and things like that. I participated in those and done many debates and things like that. And that's what I do here on YouTube, you know, for entertainment purposes, but for more importantly, educational purpose. All right. So I'm up for the debate. I'm up for the conversation. And I don't think anybody is ill-advised in their concern, depending upon where you fall on this side of this debate. The concern from one side is that, okay, this is nice and all, but it's not taking advantage of what cloud gaming is supposed to be. Cloud gaming is more than just offering you games in the sky. It's about innovating games. It's taking games to the next level, presenting something that can do things that we have not seen before, because gaming is starting to get stagnated and stale. I mean, yeah, you got your God of Wars, you got your Elden Rings, but everything in between gets ripped in half, gets torn to shreds because it's the same old stuff. So we need something to take gaming to the next level, and cloud gaming, once it reaches its maturity, is that thing that's going to do it. It's something we have to look forward to, and it's being cheapened and lessened when we just present it as a way to play what we're already playing in the sky. And there's another side that says, look, right now, cloud gaming psychologically is not accepted by the average gamer. It has a lot of potential and it can do a lot of great things, as mentioned by the previous group. However, if it doesn't survive, meaning it doesn't get saturation, then all those hopes go up in smoke. Cloud gaming first has to have a footprint. Once it develops a footprint business-wise, then businesses will continue to invest in it. Because it doesn't matter what cloud gaming is capable of. If developers don't flock to it and utilize its benefits, then it's a never was. And we're just going to be talking on the internet about something that could have been, once again, that never materialized into anything. I personally fall, I reconcile with both groups, but if I'm leaning one way more than I am the other, I'm leaning to the latter side. Hear me out. I think both things are true. I think both sides have a fantastic point, but you got to ask yourself, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I think the thing that comes first here is there has to be a saturation. There has to be a home for cloud gaming. If the average gamer does not find a use for cloud gaming early on and get past this psychological thing that they don't want to give it a try, then guess what? Developers are not going to be incentivized, or publishers rather, are not going to be incentivized in utilizing the technology. Stadia is proof of that. Stadia is 1,000% proof of that. How so? We've talked to developers on this channel. Developers told us we've seen the 8K 120 capabilities of Stadia, meaning it was already capable. Stadia was already talking about this quote-unquote Gen 2 capabilities, and developers talked about that as well. But the developers that we talked to said Stadia has to make it make sense when they roll these capabilities out, because developers and publishers have to be willing to develop towards those capabilities. And guess what we started seeing? We started seeing not more developers embracing the Stadia tech and utilizing what it could do and getting closer to Stadia rolling out the 8K 120 capabilities, but you started seeing developers back up more. You started seeing less and less games do the basic things that Stadia was offering at launch. Less and less games offering 60 frames per second. Less and less games, trying to push that fidelity up like we saw with Division 2. We started seeing more and more performance mode games and 1080 and maybe lower, because they weren't willing to put the effort in. It wasn't Stadia's fault that this was the outcome. It wasn't the platform's fault, rather, because the platform was capable. The developers and the publishers didn't think the effort was worth it. Why? Because it wasn't making business sense. And here's my plea to my gamers, my nerds, my fellow nerds, and because I'm a big nerd too, and gamers and so forth. We got to understand, whether we like it or not, and I don't like it. I think that developers and publishers should be willing to make certain sacrifices for the betterment of the technology in the long run, because it's going to be better for anybody. But this is a business, and this is a business that doesn't operate like that. They don't take one for the team. And we're in a situation where the pandemic has had such a prolific effect on how games are being made. We're seeing a lot of remakes. We're not seeing a lot of people push the envelope because they're just worried about making some money and keeping the lights on. That is a dynamic that I don't like. That's a dynamic that a lot of you on the other end of this mic don't like, but that's the reality. So while we're in this reality, so cloud gaming doesn't go through a second exodus, right? And we have it survive. It has to provide something that is beneficial to the general public and at least to a niche demographic. And poll after poll after poll that Stadia had before they closed down SG&E, when they asked gamers, what is it that you want? Gamers said, we want to play the games that people are playing on these expensive pieces of hardware that we can't afford. We want you to get those first. That's first and foremost. They weren't talking about, project this or project that or capitalize the AI and do all. They weren't talking about any of that. They said, first and foremost, get the games that we want to play on this platform. And these were not mainstreamers that they were asking. These were consumers that had already bought into the platform. So it's prioritizing what needs to happen based upon the current climate and what's going to keep cloud gaming afloat. Because if you ask me, cloud gaming is the best way to play. I mean, you got platforms like Geforce now that show you that cloud gaming is more than capable to have the fidelity, to have the output, to have the low latency and the competitive performance than any machine. You look at Digital Foundry's video on the 3080 tier, it's clocking in lower in particulars, clocking in lower than the Xbox Series X as far as latency in certain aspects. So cloud gaming is capable. It just has to make business sense to these publishers so they can embrace it. And the biggest way for it to make business sense is if active users are heavy or growing. Even if they're growing at first, just simply because they're playing games that they already purchased in the cloud. That's exposure. That's still exposure to the platform. Once they get exposure to the platform, then you have other ways to charm them over and having them deal directly with games that are built from the ground up for the said platform. So I think that even though there is concern on cloud gaming not being optimized to its highest capabilities, and I get that because Stadia was pushing that the most. I get it that Xbox is saying that they're going to make this cloud native games and they got a cloud native studio. When it comes to Xbox, unfortunately, I'm not trying to be mean. This is just my rant. When it comes to Xbox, I got to see it. They tell you 1,000 things. I got to see it first before I believe it. Stadia was the closest to pushing that envelope, and they're not here anymore. And yes, we're seeing a lot of people just simply give you access to stuff that's available elsewhere, but just giving it to you in the cloud. Hopefully we will see Luna try to utilize cloud gaming more than it just being a conduit service. GFN said, look, GFN is a great service, but they told you, they said, look, there's not going to be cloud native games here. This is a conduit service. I would assume that Boosteroid and Shadow are going to do the same thing. So hopefully Luna and any newcomers, they will be working towards, and even Xbox, they will be working towards creating cloud native games or sponsoring cloud native games that help push the technology further down the road. But right now, it's about survival, and it's about usage, and it's about business, really, in the practical business sense of publishers feeling like this is something worth investing into. They don't feel that way until they see the number. And I think this is a great way to get the number. And unfortunately, because of the climate that we're in financially, there's not a lot of options to change the direction things are going any else way. Because they're not going to just do it for the team. Even though I feel like that's what they should do, they're not going to do it. Those are my thoughts. I like this. And, the title of Stadia gamers being saved, yes, they are saved because, again, right now, it's all about them playing the games that they need access to. This is giving them a way to do it, and Luna's sending out the life rafts. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody involved in this. And shout out to Stadia too for getting these refunds out during Christmas. And again, shout out to Rock for bringing this to my attention. I just felt like I wanted to give my 2 cents on it. But those are my thoughts. As we always say, who cares what I think? Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you like this? Do you want to see more? What the state of cloud gaming? What are your thoughts about all this? Let us know in the comment section below. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, here, Cloud Dosage. With all that said, peace. Have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day.